Today we are looking at the 5 types of chemical reactions. This is part 1. These are the 5 types of chemical reactions we're going to first be learning about here in chemistry. Today's video focuses on the first 3: combustion, synthesis, and decomposition. Starting with combustion. A combustion reaction also means burning. So you have a reaction in which something is burning. Now we use a representative equation to show a general view of how this reaction may look. You'll notice we start with some hydrocarbon fuel, which has some number of carbon atoms, some number of hydrogen atoms. It may even have some number of oxygen atoms. The other reactant in a fire or burning reaction is oxygen, and it will always produce carbon dioxide and water. So as we said, the reactants are carbon-containing fuel and oxygen. The product, if combustion is complete, will be CO2 and H2O, carbon dioxide and water, every time, always. Now if combustion is incomplete, then a dangerous product of carbon monoxide is produced. And as you are aware, we have carbon monoxide detectors in our houses because it's an undetectable gas that can be fatal. Now combustion in everyday uses such as car engines, fireplaces, grills are all incomplete reactions. So be sure you stay well ventilated when working with any of those things. Now, combustion reactions are exothermic, which we've learned means a release of heat. Every time we light a Bunsen burner in the lab, it is a combustion reaction because we are burning the methane gas, the CH4, in the presence of oxygen. And you see the signs of a chemical reaction when you see the change in temperature, a light produced, smoke or gas produced. Now here are some examples of some combustion reactions. You can see 2 of them are left incomplete. The reactant side all have a starting carbon-containing fuel with oxygen. And we see the first one produces CO2 and H2O. So predict the products for the second one. It is CO2 and H2O. Remember, always the products of a combustion reaction. So we could probably say for number 3 the products are CO2 and H2O. Wrong. In fact, they are H2O and CO2. So does it really matter? No, of course not. Mathematics, addition is cumulative. Either way, you could say H2O CO2 or CO2 plus H2O. But they're always those same 2 products in a completed combustion reaction. Here we see some more incomplete reactions. We know in the reactant side we could finish those with some oxygens. Again, notice the different forms of the hydrocarbon fuels we're starting with. And all the products would end with CO2 and H2O. And then of course you could balance them. Now when balancing combustion reactions, because you will always see the presence of oxygen twice in the compound products, you want to balance oxygen last. So balance out your carbons, balance out your hydrogens, and then use this to correct the oxygens. The second reaction we're talking about today is called a synthesis reaction. And I know quite a thing about synthesizing. Well, the word synthesis means, or is also called, combination or composition. It means putting together or building up. Think of it as a new relationship forming. Boy meets girl, love is in the air, and a new couple forms as the love blossoms. Now that's chemistry. The representative equation would be A plus B Two individuals yield AB. One compound, one couple. Now, the reactants are two or more elements, or single compounds, simple compounds, or combinations of both. But the product will always be one compound as they come together to form one. Here are some examples of some synthesis reactions. Notice they all start with a minimum of two reactants. You may end up with more, but they will always end with only one compound as a product because they have come together. Bonds have formed. Now the third reaction is called decomposition. And just like the term means, to decompose means to break down, like that body decomposing. Means breaking down or breaking apart. It is the opposite of a synthesis reaction. This is now that couple splitting up. You start with AB and end with A plus B. So this time, it's just the opposite of a synthesis reaction. Your reactant is one compound. Your product can be two or more elements or simple compounds or combinations of those. When we look at some examples, again, it looks just like a flipped version of the synthesis reaction. You start with one compound, one great big thing, and that breaks down or decomposes into two or more smaller things, either elements or compounds. So that is the first three types of chemical reactions that we're going to be learning about. Tune in to the next video for part 2 of the 5 types of chemical reactions.